Because of the major skeletal difference, the basic techniques for cutting up the flatfish are not the same for cutting up the round. In the round fish, the backbone runs along the upper portion of the fish. The flesh sits on the bone of the flatfish in such a way that the usual fabrication techniques yield 4 quarter fillets. A basic method will be demonstrated by using a flounder, a delicate, mild-tasting fish. It has the typical flatfish anatomy. Variations on the procedure will be shown using other flatfish that have slightly different structures. This flounder has been gutted and scaled already. Using a fillet knife, cut down one side of the backbone. From that side, carefully remove the first fillet, staying close to the rib bones. Turn the fish, and going as far as the tail to preserve the flesh, remove the second quarter fillet. Take advantage of the flex of the knife to stay close to the bone when cutting off the fillet. Traditionally, the bones from lean white fish like this flounder are reserved to make stock, unless the taste of a certain fish is necessary to the recipe. Turn the fish to the other side. The light side provides a visual clue where to cut, called the lateral line. Remove both quarter fillets from this side. This is the basic technique for filleting a flatfish into quarter fillets. With practice, fabricating flatfish into quarter fillets can become second nature. The fillets from the dark or top side have more flesh, so they are slightly heavier than the light side. Skin the fillet the same way you did the round fish. Trim away the leftover bones. Position the fillet at the edge of the cutting board. Hold your flexible fillet knife at the best angle to peel all the flesh from the skin. Anchoring or pulling one end, use the same back and forth motion you saw demonstrated with the round fish. Remove the remaining bones and trim to make a neat shape. These fillets are ideal for creating the rolled up paupiette. Paupiette are generally made from lean fish like flounder and are often curled around a stuffing. The fillets may also be cut into finger-like goujonette, from the French name for small fish, goujon. If you choose, you may also cut full fillets from flatfish. This flounder has been cleaned already. Score the skin along one side of the fish between the fillet and the fatty, bony rim. Work the knife in gently over the layer of bone towards the center. Go up and over the backbone, being careful to preserve the flesh of the fillet. Using the tip and flex of your knife, gently cut away the rest of the fillet. Turn the fish to the other side and duplicate the up and over method to free the other fillet. Trim away the fat and bones which support the fins. The method for skinning is exactly the same for other fillets. Make sure your knife is wide enough, especially for skinning the dark side fillet. Trim away excess bones or bruises. Large, full fillets can be stuffed or fabricated further into quarter fillets. This is Dover sole, a flat fish whose fabrication is often finished tableside with great flourish. Traditionally, this fine, delicate fish comes from the channel between France and Dover, England. The fabrication technique for the Dover sole is unusual because you pull the skin right off with your hands without taking the flesh off with it. Notch the tail end with a knife to create a handle with the tail. With a rolling motion, take off the entire skin. Use a towel if necessary to get a grip. Don't claw at the fish with your fingers. Hold it down flat. Use the same technique with the other side. With Dover sole, many chefs choose to remove the skin before filleting. Dover sole à la Meunière is a popular preparation using lemon butter and parsley. To make the fabricated cut for the dish, examine the fish to see the outlines of the fillet. Cut off the head. Preserve the flesh by cutting at a diagonal. Cut along the outline of the fillet. The reproductive organs of some fish are edible, but they must be handled carefully because they are perishable. Here, the roe or eggs are gently scraped away. Use the same technique on the other side of the fish. Cut off blood clots and rinse if desired. Cut off the fins for a nice, neat look. The sole is ready for cooking à la Meunière. The wait person would remove the bones at tableside. Dover sole Colbert is another preparation of this flat fish, in which it is breaded, fried, and served with a special butter. The unsightly head will be breaded so it need not be removed. Peel off the skin as before on both sides. Remove the roe from both sides. Trim the fins along the fillet line. With a fillet knife, make a neat cut down the middle. Carefully cut the flesh along one side of the line and form a curved flap. Create a pocket for the cold bear butter by pulling back the flesh on the other side of the line. Notch both ends of the backbone so the bones can be gently pulled out after cooking. This is the fabricated cut for Dover sole Colbert and for à la Meunière. If you simply want quarter fillets from the Dover sole, skin it and remove the roe as before, but then gently score the line down the middle. Carefully cut the flesh away from the bones on both sides of the line and on both sides of the fish. This is the same basic fabrication technique as with other flat fish. Here, the head has been left on. Trim clots and fin bones to form 4 neat quarter fillets. The fabrication technique to make quarter fillets from a much thicker fish can be demonstrated on the turbot. It has a rough, bumpy skin, but a snowy white, fine textured flesh. Because of the large size of this fish, first cut down the center from head to tail, but instead of cutting the fillet from this line, it is easier to start cutting the fillet from the outside in. Examine the fish to locate the fillet part. Score along the line to avoid the fat and bony part. Carefully cut the flesh away from the layer of bone and remove the first quarter fillet. The second fillet can be removed from the center, working out as you would do with a smaller flatfish. The 2 fillets are different in size because the belly of the live fish contains roe and guts. Use the same technique on the other side to cut off quarter fillets. Trim away fat, bones, and bruises. The skinning technique is exactly the same as you've seen with other fish. Clean up the fillets as before. These fillets are perfect for fabricating further into tranches of different sizes or goujonnette. The halibut is an even larger, thicker flatfish. It can weigh up to 300 pounds, but it is lean and has a delicate flavor. It calls for using the same technique we used with the thick turbot coming from the outside in. Cut the fillets away from the bone. Trim and skin as before, but you will probably need a larger knife for this big fish. Fabricating steaks is well demonstrated with the halibut. Trim the fins. With a chef's knife, cut down the length of the fish along the backbone. It may take some effort to cut all the way through. Skin and bone will be removed after cooking. Proceed to cut the steaks. A typical portion is again 4 to 6 ounces. Trim them up and they're ready for cooking. These are the wings of the skate. It is technically a non-bony fish, but since the flat wings only are fabricated for food, we're treating them as a flatfish. Locate the cartilage portion and place the fillet knife above it. Then carefully cut the whole fillet away. Since the skate spoils rapidly, be sure it smells fresh when you receive it. The skin is very rough, so use a towel if necessary. Do the same thing on the bottom side of the wing. This fillet will be a bit lighter in weight. The stringy but sweet-tasting flesh makes an interesting preparation. To skin, use a large knife. You may need a towel because the flesh is very slippery.